Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Legal Week 2019. Today we're at LegalTech at the Hilton Hotel in Manhattan. It's the coldest day of the year, but we sent 2 crews to try to cover everything we have here. Some amazing exhibits, booths, vendors, and products. We couldn't cover everything, but take a look at what we got so far.
We're absolutely grateful that Greg Buffitis and his crew are here and want to talk about the future of the industry. After you're done with me, if you will just pan the room, you will see the legal technology innovators of the past, say, 25 years. We've got old-timers, new-timers, but all people have been evangelical about bringing legal technology to bear on the most budget-laden problem, which is e-discovery. And what you'll see is these folks will be rising in the management ranks. They will be going broad into security and privacy. We're seeing so much more of that, of information governance, of compliance. And these are your innovators, and they're quite happy to be with each other.
And the big thing that we're seeing is a real convergence of what used to be e-discovery professionals singularly. We're now at the association, ASAD, seeing information governance, cybersecurity, privacy, even IT professionals touching e-discovery, needing to understand the process. So I think you're going to see in the upcoming year a lot of people moving from simply being an e-discovery, and you'll see e-discovery people moving out to these other industries. So we say e-discovery, and there's going to be opportunities in other areas, as well as new data sources, Internet of Things. Think about Alexa. How do we collect Alexa? And drone information and mobile car, your car. How do we get that data out for litigation? So I think there's going to be some new challenges. There already are, but we're going to see people figuring it out this year.
My name is Robert Childress. I'm the founder of the Masters Conference. We run conferences. We've been doing it for almost 13 years now, and a lot of the brands and companies that you might trust in the space have originated or started within Masters, the Masters Conference. And so we're really excited to still be here today and still incubating all of these really great ideas that people are coming up with. I've been in this space a long time, and one of the things that we're seeing in the past 2 years is investment into products into this space. And that's a big deal because everybody you spoke to was homegrown software, and now we're seeing more of VC, real investors coming into this space. So some of the big announcements we've had this week is vendors like Onnit, CS Disco or Disco, receiving like $83 million and like ridiculous money. And that's phenomenal because companies like Relativity and Catalyst and all these other products that we've got have really worked hard to get the funding and investment into their companies. And now it's like we see this just, people are really interested in getting involved in the space. We're moving from being a mom and pop software grown industry into a real Facebook technology solution type thing. I think 2020 is probably sexier because what are they going to do with all that money? And I think 2020 is going to be a lot of IPOs, a lot of phenomenal developments, so it's good. So you got to kind of look at it as a 2-year process.
The challenge of technology, the reluctance of lawyers to embrace technology, that means they're always looking for some quicker way, some quicker answer, and hopefully I've been there to be able to give them that kind of information. They can't go back to school to learn computer science or information technology, so hopefully by speaking lawyer, by understanding what they need, having worked so many years in the trenches as a trial lawyer, I can sort of cut to the chase in terms of the essential technologies they need to understand. At least that is my hope and effort. Some of the magic we could do with forensics in the old days has gone away by virtue of the advent of full disk encryption and solid state media. But for everything we've lost in forensics in the old look at the physical media approach, we've gained in the plethora of new metadata, new logging, new transactional recordings that we can look at to reconstruct in enormous detail the actions of people.
Just as a bit of background, I was a United States magistrate judge for the Southern District of New York here in Manhattan from February 1995 to February 2018. Rule 1 of the Federal Rules of Civil Procedure, we are trying to do things to make the process just, speedy, and inexpensive. So whatever analytic tools one can use, and again, Federal Rules of Civil Procedure discovery does not require perfection. Requires one to do a reasonable job. One also has ethical responsibilities to the system, not to play games. And if there is a tool that enables one to do that, whether that's TAR, whether that's clustering technology, whether it's using a combination of tools, whatever will make things go faster and or cheaper, to me, is better.
We're seeing, in part due to the kind of declining sanctions numbers, due to the increase in, or kind of the emergence of easy-to-use technology, and the increase in competence kind of globally across the bar, there's kind of a large de-risking of e-discovery. And so what that signals to us is that that's opening the doors for corporate legal teams to bring this work in-house because they don't have this fear of sanctions. They know that they can do this better, for instance, in their outside law firms or their vendors.
Big news in the e-discovery space has been this wave of consolidation that we've seen over the last number of years. Obviously, it's created some very large companies, and that has its benefits. So that cost savings can be driven into what's delivered to clients. And there's obviously economies of scope and scale and service delivery. And so that's all great stuff. But actually, the thing that's most important to us, inventors, and I think is becoming more important to our clients, is what I call the race to the top. So that's the race for talent and expertise. So the value that clients are looking for these days is more than just cost savings. Cost savings are table stakes to actually even speak to a client and engage with them. But actually, with the onset of algorithmic approaches to dealing with large sets of data, that requires the human element as well, more than the technology element, and that's how do you take the data sources, how do you apply the correct algorithms, how do you test the variety of algorithms are out there to understand which ones are appropriate for your business and use case. And so that's why all of the companies in our space need to attract and retain the most talented people in the industry.
I see a big kind of evolution in the way that e-discovery is executed, really around this in-place strategy. When I say in-place, keeping your communications and your content in the system that they're being utilized. So I think that as we talk to folks here at the show and we work with some of our larger customers, we're seeing, I think they're starting to see the shift is really starting to happen and that it's a credible move that they can start to make. And so the gears are starting to turn. Digital transformation is top of mind for almost every customer. This is one way that they can help to drive that transformation, simplify, reduce risk, harness their cost structures, and really drive that change forward.
I think that clients are starting to realize that top quality, diverse talent is a scarce commodity, and there's enormous demand for it. And in addition to just hiring the right people with the right credentials and diverse backgrounds, we also see that there's much more attention being paid to developing those professionals into potential leaders at your organization. And on both sides of the equation, there's a lot of excitement for that.
If you look across the EDRM paradigm and you look at where the technology was pointed a few years ago at the middle with things like technology-assisted review and predictive coding, what we're seeing now is technology moving even further left and really addressing some of the needs before you even collect the first ounce of data from a custodian. And so now we have technology that will go all the way back to the endpoints, look into those endpoints, allow you to search at those endpoints, and really basically manage your data collections from a very singular focus, laser focused level.
A lot of clients are talking to me about the fact that document review is great, but sometimes they need some other tools to maybe handle some of the transcripts that they have or the pleadings and the correspondence that they're having to deal with. So I'm seeing some tools from, I guess, more of a case analysis perspective, sort of a management aspect on that.
The other trend that I think is really important in 2019 is more IoT devices in car infotainment systems, drones, in smart buildings that will be used in litigation and different kind of data that can come out of that, and more types of messaging applications on the smartphones that are relevant to these matters. And so as part of that, we're spending a lot of time educating lawyers on how to win their case by these other different types of data streams.
I'm going to go way out on a limb here, and I'm going to talk about 5 to 10 years from now. I think the next 2 to 5 years, we're going to see a lot of tools focused on helping us in the process and in the workflow of drafting and arguing. 5 to 10 years from now, I think we're going to see voice assist doing that same kind of function. I was just at a talk in San Francisco a week ago, and one of the heads of Airbnb was talking about they have bots now that when they go into meetings are helping them understand what kind of words to use if they're talking too much and optimizing the manager's presence in a meeting. Imagine lawyers are using that kind of a tool in court or with their clients, and they're getting information saying, did you know that the judge responds this way to the kind of argument you just made? And you can quickly modify the way you're arguing in court. That's a future that I really think is actually going to be something we're going to see not too long from now.
A newer challenge that organizations are really beginning to have to deal with is the additional compliance and investigations burden that they all have. Last year, Europe passed the General Data Protection Regulation, data privacy for European citizens. California passed the Privacy Act as well. You don't have to be located in those places as long as you do business with those citizens of Europe or of California. You're subject to data privacy requirements under those statutes. The push of the technologies further to the left of the EDRM model is where we're talking about, because the compliance and investigations burdens are so important.
I'm excited kind of what's going on with analytics, but what I'm thinking is going to happen the most is we're going to see what happens with all the consolidations and changes in the markets. Some of the companies have gotten so big that, how is the service going to be? So really, what's that going to be focused? How are people going to stay treating their clients as clients and servicing them in the right way, using technology, but not just making technology replace the people?
My industry prediction is that firms are going to want to have better control over their identity at trial, and they're going to be taking a better look at their trial technology and presentation skills so that they come off better publicly. They don't want a horrible YouTube moment or anything like that.
The one thing we're now seeing is that the level of expectation with document review platforms, specifically in the cloud, is that it needs to look and feel like the social media you use outside of e-discovery. People understand that when you go to log out, it kind of hangs off your name in the top right-hand corner, like it does in LinkedIn, like it does in Facebook. people's level of expectation in and around search and retrieval, their level of expectation in and around ease of use, I think is actually driven by what's happening outside of e-discovery, and it's important for us as vendors to keep that in mind as we're continuing to develop products.
I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you're wondering where I am right now, I'm in Rome, and this is the old ancient Senate of Rome. And down here are the ruins of the rooms where Julius Caesar was stabbed. Just a little historical note for you. And if you want to subscribe to all my other videos, just click right over here.